Hello, I'm Horace Douty in Lexington, Virginia, and each Tuesday I bring you a nature lesson featuring the local plants of the Valley of Virginia, and especially in Rockbridge County. And I encourage you, if you enjoy these nature lessons, share them with your friends. Go to Horace Douty YouTube. Sometimes the spelling of D-O-U-T-Y is difficult for YouTube, but try to get me, and then share this with your family and your friends. I appreciate that. Today, I want to talk about straw bale gardening. Behind me is a row of straw bales that are, this is their second season of being used, and almost anything will grow in a straw bale. What you do is start with a bale of straw or hay, turn it on its edge so that the strings, the twine, does not touch the ground. You'll have to condition the bale for 2 weeks with water, keep the bales soaked, and a little bit of fertilizer that soaks in with the water. Then you will find that the straw or the hay very quickly begins to compost and disintegrate, and it creates heat inside the bale. After 2 weeks, you pull out a clump of straw, about a quart size hole, and then add about a quart of potting soil in that hole. Then into that hole you plant, and you can do this a month early because the bales are hot, they're warm. And if you're in a sheltered spot like against the wall of a brick home, the entire plant will flourish and grow. Now you see over here, there are tomatoes. Here it is, still in May, and nice tomatoes are just on the verge of ripening. They were planted a good month earlier than they could have been planted in the ground. Then you have to keep these plants watered. And as I say, almost anything will grow there. You don't want to plant corn because one stalk of corn just doesn't produce but one or 2 years. But everything else is very effectively grown in straw bales. The bales have to be kept reasonably moist, which means that you either have to add a soaker hose and just let it come on automatically, or every 2 days water them with a water spray hose. And then once a month, not necessarily, but I add just a sprinkle of dry fertilizer at the base of each plant and then water that in. Then you have to support. Now this wall has fencing against the bricks, and the tomatoes will climb that wire, especially if you tie one or two of them up. And then another encouraging thing I want to tell you is to let your tomatoes get ripe on the vine. I see tomatoes being cut in cooking classes on television. They are not ripe. A tomato that is ripe has no white inside when you slice it. It is red if the tomato is red, or yellow or orange, whatever. You do not have white inside a ripe tomato. And then after the harvest is finished, and incidentally these tomatoes will bear on up usually until nearly Christmas in December, because they're protected, they're sheltered, they're cared for. That's what you do. Then next spring, you just do it again. You don't have to do anything to the bales. They're ready. They have been conditioned. Then another thing I want to show you is cucumbers, which I planted only a few days ago, and they're bursting with life, and they too will climb that wire fence which is behind them. One caution: when you get a bale of hay or straw, make sure it does not contain any kind of chemical like herbicide, because Grazon and other weed killers are sometimes sprayed on pastures before the hay is made. You cannot use that. Vegetables generally do not like that. But the beauty of straw bales is clean, It is compact, it is weed-free, disease-free, trouble-free, and grows beautiful, perfect vegetables. There is your nature lesson for today.